brethren. See, I specifically thank God for this podcast. From a lot of productions I've done, this particular series of podcasts made me realize I have the gift of men, the caliber of people I know, the caliber of people that I reach out to, and you guys just honor me. You know, first of all, thank you so much for coming. How you doing? How your side?
It's an honor. You know, you are someone with antecedents. You are a man that over the years you showed workings, you showed process, and you've pioneered a lot of things. Even if you don't say it, yeah, there are so many things that you are at the forefront of it. So you are not that kind of call. I won't see a call from you and I will ignore. God forbid.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much. You know, before I go further to say more about you, so we what we do here is whoever we bring get to introduce themselves, you know.
Okay.
You know, so Emma will introduce, although but introduce yourself, you know.
So my name is Damilare Oluwasegun, aka Ashiri Comedy. I'm a media entrepreneur, I'm a comedian, I'm an author, I'm a consultant, I'm a trainer, I'm a strategist, I'm everything.
As in, one thing I was going to say was Ogbe wan gogo, because Onodo Gbawole, you entered. When I say enter, you got into the scene playfully as a comedian. That we just look at you, you know, obviously comedy, you know, but not too seriously, not knowing that there is brain. When it was years later that I looked at your side and I saw what you were doing, the things you do, like the books you've written, the you know, I see your broadcast, I read most of them, you know, when I get them, and the brain, I even hear say realization at 5 points you take finish from school or first class or something like that.
Now only they do PR for me, you know, reach down where you had.
Wait, what did you finish with?
We thank God. I finished well. I finished well. I ran my race. One thing that happened actually was that when I ventured into comedy, I knew beforehand, because usually everything that has happened to me always start with a word. So the day I saw comedy, it was not only comedy I saw comic leverage. So I'd always known that comedy was a means. So when it started, and that was what pushed me when I started writing books, went for MBA, went to New York Film Academy. I just knew that comedy was tossing me around. Comedy brought the audience, and I needed to now start fulfilling the purpose. And
made sense, because it was the same thing I also did too. All those you can lie, all those Davido parodies was to bring your attention to me, so that I can now show you the substance of which I'm made of. Which if I had shown you that substance, I maybe wouldn't have gotten that attention.
There won't be attention.
So brilliant. Let's start, because we started by discussing some things that were not planned before. So I was just like, let's just even start recording. So let's start from that angle. Before we get into the overall, we want to talk about relationships, being single and getting married and all that. But we started from a very vulnerable angle, and on the thing that you and I can relate with. You know, I lost my mom in 2011, and we thank God for healing and everything. But it's not something you can say you totally. You know, I've gotten over. And you were discussing about yours too, that you lost your mom in 2007, and I would want us to talk about men hurting, you know, how we handle our hurt, you know, because recently I personally realized that every man, for what's that word again, for the sake of your therapy, you know, I feel like every man needs a particular moment that you dedicate, that you just cry. And I found that at the feet of Christ, you know, like when I pray. So something happened recently, you know, probably I'll share it here for the first time, you know. So I lost my mom in 2011, but I lost one of my sisters that is really dear to me, and, you know, my heart still aches. I lost her like a couple of weeks ago, you know. A lot of people won't know. So a lot of people that you see giving you joy and you don't know what they are going through, you know. The last travel I went to London, I wasn't myself. Even when I went to Florida, I had all that show, I wasn't myself. I'll be going around in London in the evenings, wearing my headphones, playing worship songs, worshiping God and everything, and soaked in tears. But in the place of prayer, I found that there's this sort of healing. There's something that is coming to me from that crying, and I just needed to. And what God gave me, what it still gives me, because I actually look forward to crying in prayer now, is it takes you back to that being a baby, being a child,
yes,
and just pouring it down to somebody, you know. And it made me realize that as men, not even from ego, just by nature, naturally, we hold a lot of things that we do not even know, and it ends up in us carrying so much load, you know. So let's just touch that, for instance, and let's go by the angle of the story of how you lost your mom and, you know, everything that followed, you know.
You know, as you're talking now, grief is something, and especially Nigerians, there's no master class for it, and it's something that is bound to happen once in a while. You know, when I lost my mom, so many things happened, because it's a different thing when someone dies. Now it's become harder when you watch someone die. So that means day in, day out, you are watching the person fade. I watch her going. She's tall. They used to call her like she's police. She's tall. She's huge. And I watch her go to size 8. I watched this thing consuming her gradually, and then one day she went in for surgery, and my dad just came back home and was like, "Your mom is not coming back." It was crazy because I was 15.
Whoa.
I was 15, and it happened at a time when I was praying to enter OAU. And to just cut the long story short, I realized that 2 things. That incident changed my life in 2 ways. The first one was when people started gathering. There was one woman, these Yoruba sympathizers, they call it Itara, in the Itara of crying, and those were like, Oluwa o, báwo la ọmọ yóò ṣe ní yàyàkuyà báyìí. She now started making pronouncements. We are 3. I'm the only guy. I have 2 other sisters. Báwo lè yọ ọkùnrin yẹn ò ṣe ní máa fagbó báyìí?
Are you serious?
Báwo làwọn obìnrin yẹn ò ṣe ní wá yaṣẹ́wó báyìí? Ìyá wọn ti lọ, àwọn ọmọ ìkéré. Meaning, how am I not going to turn to a junkie? How my sisters will not turn to prostitute? And so when she left, I realized this woman is making pronouncements, and I need to do something to counter those pronouncements. Wow. So I come and is the opinion of a wheeler. Because at that moment she's a wheeler, and it's not left to you. I now told my sister, this woman has offered prediction, and data is not on her side, of a truth. Children that lost their mother at that age ends up wayward. So we have a statistic to prove wrong. Don't let us allow the opinion of a wheeler. Don't let it become true in our life. And that has been the basis of everything I do. Because many people have asked me in my last special, I won't be able to talk about. In my last special, last comedy special I did, that was the first time.
Congratulations about that one.
Thank you, boss. Thank you, boss. I did like 1 hour 11 minutes. Wow. By grace of God. Out of those 1 hour 11 minutes, around 30 something minutes, I was telling them about my virginity story in a funny way, because I got married as a virgin.
Wow.
Yes.
So yeah, because I brought Giz Baba because of that. So we have another model. Continue.
I got married as a virgin. Wow. And many people be like, what drove me all through? One of the factors was that I knew where I was coming from. I knew that the statistics are not favoring me. And I'm trying not to walk on eggshell. It's hard, because I have kind of father that he just tell you what to do. He does not follow up with you. All through my sojourn in OAU, not for, those things that parents do that maybe they will come and pay on scheduled visit to you. My father will never. Mommy, anything won't ṣe, Ọlọ́run á wà pẹ̀lú ẹ. That's all. Daddy mo ti ń lọ school. Owó ẹ̀ rèé. Rántí ọmọ ẹni tí wọ́n ń ṣe, Ọlọ́run á wà pẹ̀lú. He will not check on you. It was when I graduated that I knew that my dad did not know my course. He was saying, about chemistry, ló ṣe mí daddy micro. So I had every reason to be wayward, because no one was checking up on me, including my sisters. My younger sister, she's doing well in Scotland now. My elder sister, she's married to in her husband's house and all. And what that thing particularly did to me was, number one, it made me more. I watched my dad. My dad is a strong man. He's a very strong man. But the day I know that men should cry, because when it happened, yes, he was crying, but the crying was not much. Then one day, when he resumed work, he entered his car. He wanted to reverse to back out of the house. Then he looked. I had already opened gate for him, waiting for him to go out. Then looked at his side, saw the empty passenger seat. Then he returned the car to park, and he broke down there. Cried. I saw him, he was shattered. I said, it took him another 35 minutes. I was asking, will you still drive to work? He said, they will go. It was later I realized that, do you know that unconsciously this man, because that has been his routine for 17 years, for several years, his routine is to first drop my mom at work.
Aye.
Then he will now go to his own place of work. This man was still driving to our workplace.
Wow.
When she get to the gate, he will realize that this woman is no more. He will now turn back.
Wow.
He will now come back in the afternoon to pick her friends. Those ones will be reluctant, but he's here. Before they now started, reported him to us that it's something that they come out more.
Wow.
So grief is a lot of things that will not stay. It happens to me too, because now when things started happening for me, when something big happened to me, I won't lie to you, thank God for the gift of my wife. Before I got married, especially, the first thing I want to share it with is my mom, because those were the kind of prayers I remember she prayed for me. And
if I can also cut you there, one of the biggest, for instance, for me, one of the biggest pains is the fact that our dreams is like carding so that we can do something for our moms. And every little opportunity I got, then when I started getting small shows, maybe when I started getting 20K, I will use 5K, try to buy her something. She will be like, Nisuru is not wave, calm down, use your. And when the things now came, I'm like, I was not even lucky. She didn't even taste. She never knew me as Ashiri. She died when in fact, she died because it was so bad that it was they buried her on Friday, the Saturday. And this is where I'm going. The Saturday after was my entrance examination into AU. So we still had to. So people were like, no, Emma Yakoshi, Ayeshiwa, Omo Kekere ni. Then I remembered, opinion of a whaler. I didn't see anything. My dad's friend is the HOD of biochemistry then. He came for the burial. So when, in the midst of all the cry, I just sneaked into his car. He was driving a red Volvo. I said, sir, Shebe Mpada Sife one year. Emma sọ fún ọkẹ mo wà ń bí o, mo tẹ̀lé yín lọ sífẹ̀, mo máa kọ exam yẹn lọ́la. And an educationist, I like your courage. He said it in that Yoruba English. I like your courage. Ìwọ jókòó síbẹ̀ ẹ̀ ń tiẹ̀, má worry. Because so that it will not leak, it was supposed to go back to the house to at least still sympathize with my dad. He just drove straight to Ife. Mo wẹ̀ máa study mẹ́ ẹ̀ ń tó ti kú. And imagine I didn't write that exam because it was that exam that got me into AU. Wow. And OAU was the beginning of many of the relationships and experience that now shaped my life. Wow. So how did you deal with that? It's still, God helps us, we still carry it, but God is helping us. But you needed to have done a special thing to at least, get over it to a particular point that you can, keep moving ahead. I gave myself a mandate to be successful. Because that's one of my mom's greatest dream for me. For you to know, I didn't go to her graveside until like 11 years after. Wow. Because I wanted to go to her graveside to tell her that, mommy, things have started happening in my life. Drive my own car to her. When I got there, I couldn't recognize. It took me over 1 hour. I was searching. It's one of the most tortuous moments for me. Like, I will carry, there was one man there, he will carry shovel, the man in charge. If you know St. Peter Aremo is the cathedral. Wow. Cathedral of Anglican diocese, like Anglican communion. So, now St. Peter Aremo has a cemetery that services most of their Anglican members. So for you to know now, this is a cemetery that's been in existence more than 10 decades. So you know what it means for me to start rummaging through series of grave tombstone because I was searching for my mom's. But I said today I will locate it. If you see that man is like an expert in grave matters. I don't know Eduro, Yoruba man Eduro. Yeah, we're not say. I said 2007. He was not doing like VAR. Month ago, I said August 20. Of course, I want to go August 25. Friday, Saturday. And for real, that man knows the coordinate of that place. Wow. At the stage, I would say, oh, this man is not even a ghost. He said, follow me. He now took me to a corner, a catchment area. He said, Ibilo mawa, ejaka mawa ibilo. Muni sheshwo. Oh, ani ejaka mawa. Sharing 2009,
So we started when I
laugh at my pain. I'm sure you created.
I created a set on. In fact, this is like a teaser.
Wow.
After my last special, it was deliberate. Let me use your show.
Special recorded.
Yeah. Very well. It's coming on streaming channel. There was because people came to ask me that I dwelt more on my dad during my last special. It was because my next special that will come, it will be the first time I want to talk about grief. It will be the first time a comedian talks about grief, and I want people for the first time to genuinely see a reason to laugh about the people they've lost, because it's painful. Because mine was so funny that there were 3 very important people in my life: my mom, my grandmother. My grandmother did not pray any other prayer for me all through her life. She would be like, "Oh my Lord, that's the only prayer."
Interpret that, please. So far.
Meaning that you will be going, the incidents with which you will be going to European countries is like you want to go and peace.
Wow, that's how much.
That's how easy it will be for you. That okay, so if an average person pee like 3 times a day, so that means it will be so easy for you to travel.
And that's how it has been, because when there was one time I saw you at one, we were still talking. Next thing I saw at Auri's event in London.
So, and when I saw the manifestation, my grandma was no more. My grandma didn't survive it. Less than a year after my mom died, she left.
Your mom passed before your grandmom.
My mom passed before my grandmom. So, and she always said that whatever will happen, that she will lose any of her child, that God should take her. And indeed, God took her. Now, then my mom and elder sister followed in the space of 3 years. But there are consolations. Like now, like my grandma on my father's side now, she's over 100 years. And she's still with us. My dad is over 75.
Well, thank God your dad is here.
I thank God specially that everything God compensated in my dialysis is LD. When I saw my grandma, my paternal grandma, over 100 years, this woman, grandma man general, cholesterol àbí kí lẹ mọ̀ ń pè cholesterol tí ò pa mí 60 so wá rí ọ̀pá sí.
And I'm sure your dad will be very proud of you, and that will mean so much more to you, yes, especially with a lot of things you've gone through, So let's now bring that into relationship, like the grief. Did it tell on you going into relationships, your dating lives, and how did it affect? How did it influence?
It did. I was a very withdrawn person. I was excessively independent. I'm okay so far. I'm the only one in the house. Same with my younger sister. She's in Scotland now. This girl left Nigeria. She didn't even wait for me to pick connections for her that I called this person. Before I know she got there, she was already running things. I didn't even need to put call through for her that I'll go and meet so person. So it made me excessively withdrawn. It made me excessively individualistic. So all through OAU, I didn't have a girlfriend. There's nobody in this world that will come to me and say, if anybody come to you and say, I'm Ashiri's ex, the person is lying. I didn't have an ex. My wife now was the first. No. There's no one that will say, I was a withdrawn child and I had a bit of esteem issues, especially in my second year in university. Why? Because I had because coming from someone that lost his mom, then I had a bad case of pimples. If you see, they used to call me KOP, King of Pimp. If you see my face, it's like this your button, this your DJ, full of button.
Wow.
Different sizes, and it was so bad that they used to use it to describe me. I don't know him. That tall guy, I don't know him. That guy that has KOP. It was bad. So it affected the way I talk with people. So over time, thank God, it cleared at some point. Then I started meeting people. Then I met a good friend of mine. She's now the wife of a popular pastor now. Her name is, I will mention her because her name is Pastor Fumi Alabi. She's the wife of Pastor Peter Alabi. I met her. She was my classmate.
Wow.
So she gave me a book by Miles Muro, Understanding the Purpose and Power of Being a Man. She gave me that book. So So when I started reading that book, she was the first person over that. Before then, I used to read all this Sidney Sheldon. I read prose and fiction. So she now gave me that book. I was like, oh, so all these self-help books could be good like this. That was how I started buying books. So I'll go to SUB, I'll buy. So she gave me that book. Then we became friends. Now, being friends with her, let me explain what being friends with her did to me. All these things I've never shared before. I'm sure if she sees this thing, I'm not sure I've ever told her physically. Now she's like the most sophisticated girl in our class then. Because as at 100 level, she had a right.
Wow.
So there's a chasm between us. She's there. I'm just that random guy that if you count the number of shirts I have, then one yellow Chelsea jersey and 2 or 3. So I'm not the kind of guy she should actually flow. I just realized that this girl, she was close with me. I mean, I was drawing back because of esteem. Like I was feeling like a plague. Like I should not contaminate you. You have something going on for you. But the more I tried to, one day she came to class and she would call me. I should reserve seat for her. I was like, then we started talking. She would wait for me.
Wow.
She would drop me in our hostel.
Wow.
And even the so big boy in the class were like, that's one of the first, I cannot lie, one of the first thing that liberated my esteem. I'm not sure she even knows.
Wow.
I'm not sure she knew that. I was just like, this girl, me? Then we started talking, we became friends. Even when we go on holidays, we text and it was never
Platonic. It was
Platonic. It was never about me. I want to take enter relationship that time, sir. With what? If you see my head, then this hairstyle, it was Barry or Gomiza, Calabash in you. So but for her to be free enough she invited me to their church, introduced me to her friends. That time when I went back home for break in Ibadan, I enter gate. Because now I know that, not because I'm trying to impress her, it wasn't crossing my mind that maybe but the fact that there's a lady that is interested in me and she has not interested. There's a lady that is my friend.
Just like you for who you are.
From who I am, then
and it just makes sense. Like that was probably what God sent her to do in your life. That was her assignment.
That's how hasty people are. Because I remember some of my friends were telling me that get like a love and that's the mistake people make.
You chase people that are supposed to do something else because of your. Sometimes
some people are in your life to help you through a phase. But sometimes you will number everything. It's everybody you want to have a what do they call it?
Romantic
a love affair with. Some people are just in your life at that moment. Thank God that that kind of thing did not even cross my mind. Then over the years, I think she even got married maybe at the tail end before we left school. But that was one of the things that liberated my esteem. That
because it was like the biggest girl.
It's just like
flowing with this.
It's just like
they see you as smallest boy. Do you understand? The way she saw you,
it was
what influenced.
It was life changing.
Liberation.
One day we were in class. I can't forget. All this time, I'm sure she must have forgotten. We were in class. She kept a seat for me. So as I entered, I wanted to run to the back. She just said, and the way she calls me, she calls my name in full. Damn Larry, come. And our matric number is only one person that is in between us. So, damn Larry, come. I kept a seat for you. That's the dream like of most big boys in our class then. That And I sat down beside her, and the lecturer did not come on time. She now did her head like this, like she put her head on my shoulder. But as she put her head on my head, I just looked my friend. And since after then, I told myself, no.
Wow.
I became more serious with life. I started approaching my life with more. I started dressing well. I don't dress well. I started combing my hair.
Wow.
So
you were totally rough before?
No, I wasn't totally rough. I was useless.
Wow.
I can wear yellow on. I was useless. Like kilo coming. Apart from hygiene, I wash my mouth so that I won't smell. Lusho. Ungroomed.
Wow.
All these boys that I used to speak, it was after I entered Lagos. So I used to talk with, not too much, but there were some about the factors that were in my. Yeah, it wasn't pronounced. It wasn't pronounced though. I'd always had this. My mom ensured that. I'd always had this slick way. My mom ensured that we didn't, but at least I still had some words. Like if I want to say VCD, I could come with any VCD. But I booked the share polish in singing. And that was how the journey started. And shout out to her, Funlola Alabi.
And because we are still going to get, we are still coming, we are coming gradually. But yeah, shout out to her because that's singular act that only God knows what, maybe it was a revelation from God. Maybe she didn't even know what she was doing at the time. But that is the kind that has influenced you such that you even are married now. Because if you were still that same guy, because that your wife with me, I see. We are still getting there. There's no way this guy you described to me would have even been man enough to maybe walk up to or make a wife out of the wife you have now, and you are enjoying a very good home, which we are going to get to, And this would cause me to. I was telling my wife that, we need to pay more attention to platonic relationships between a guy and a girl that is harmless. Because I had this friend then. Very shapy, do you understand? Sexy, that had all the curves and everything. And even as at the time that I was living alone and I was already sexually active and everything, this girl was my friend. She would sleep on my mattress and nothing happened because we just saw ourselves as, do you understand, and friends. And she really also helped me through a phase in school, make a shout out to Ife Lungwa. Shout out to you. She's such my friend now that she still, she called me last week. She's the kind of person that, so she's been calling me. She called me on my birthday, but my birthday is so busy. She had called me like 7 times. I no pick her call, I no return her call because I've been, busy. But natural people will find out like these stars. But she still found a way to reach out to just make sure that I'm okay. And that's how she's been. There was one thing I was going through in school then. She was just there for me. And at that time, I was a famous boy in school. So I was like, shit, because this girl liked me and everything. But over time, I just saw that it was just genuine care. And that did something in me. It mended some form of hurt in me that I didn't. Do you understand? Like, so what it mean when you are at at that phase in your life where you see things in skirt and this girl fall within that, but see him within that. So there's something it also does to guys in making you responsible. Yes. Yeah? And do you understand? There's something that, so we should really pay attention.
It aligns you. It's not, there are so many good things that comes in form of platonic relationship. Don't rob yourself of it by, it's not everybody you want to.
And even help self-control. All these talks about when he sees anything in skirt, it's because that discipline was not paid attention to.
You've cultivated that indiscipline over time.
So platonic relationships between, especially a guy and a girl, it helps to cover all that, So shout out to her for that. So you no get ex.
No, I think there's nobody that will come out.
But from this story now, it wasn't like it was an intentional thing. It developed from the low self-esteem so over time, when you now even became a man of yourself, you are now like, okay, tell us that story. So because it felt like you now got to the point that I've come this far. What's the point?
So over time, when I broke that self-esteem issue, I started seeing myself as, I'm a big deal. Then I now realized that then I went to serve in Delta. Now, almost all the stories people told me is, that Delta where you are going, this is your virginity that you are carrying to Delta. Forget, it will not come back with you. It's just, so truthfully, when I got to Delta, shout out to the amazing people of Delta, I realized that it's like because the first night in the Coppers Lodge, we were gisting with coppers, and one of the coppers just told me, a Yoruba boy now, he said, maybe she did Wall Street. As I go Aventa Street, that he went to toast one Delta girl, and the girl was just like, why they toast me? Oh, this Yoruba boy, they know they toast. Yeah, you go ask, and you want.
Wow.
I go tell you. So that was why I realized. That's when I realized, this is the kind of place I am. And the school I was teaching chemistry. The moment they realized that this one no book, I was teaching chemistry, teaching biology, teaching physics. I was taking almost all the classes. The girls will wait after, teach me. Then I told myself, I know. I saw what some of my colleagues are doing. I said, no, I won't do this. So after I survived that 1 year, and I didn't do anything, even despite the fact that, okay, if you can't even get it with students, they are your fellow coppers, of course, it didn't still happen. Thank God. I think God is keeping me for a purpose. Then, and I realized that I think this thing for me, and this is the point, this thing for me is the reason why I'm different from others. The reason why we are different, number one, is because our assignments are different. Our assignment differs. Your assignment is different from mine. And because our assignments are different, our consecrations are different too. Our consecrations are different. That was why the Apostle Paul was saying, all things are lawful, what things are explained. Our consecrations there's something Emma will do, and Emma will come back from it. Ashiri might do it, and he won't come back from it. So I now begin to sense that I think this consecration is attached to some of the things I do. Because when I wrote my first book, I was telling someone, they would think it's a lie. My first book was not an inspiration. I will wake up, I was hearing like someone was dictating for me.
Are you serious?
Yes. Till I finished a book. I will wake up like I'm hearing dictation and I was writing it down. That's why if you go and check that book, one day I was reading that.
What's the name of the book, please?
Ashiri Mystery Book. That's my first book. I was reading that book recently because we printed more copies during my show so that we can sell to people. And I realized that if I want to write this book now, I won't write it this way.
Wow.
Because it was not looking like raw notes.
Wow.
The flow of thoughts. Then I now remember that, that was how it came. If you check that book, you will see. So that was when I realized I'm not an ordinary person. So when entertainment now bloomed, things now started happening. So the temptation became real. Now there are girls in your DM. Now they are sending you unsolicited nudes. You did not ask for it. I had one phone like that. They used to send me nude in JPEG.
Are you serious?
How do you know the kind of? That means you must be higher than Delilah. What it takes you to arrange nude, you now put it in JPEG. You now send like 16 folders. But watch to your field.
Wow.
I know. So now I entered the arena where it's not. Now I'm visible. Fleeing is becoming less of a strategy now. Because this thing comes in stages. It's easy to tell someone that flee. How do you flee when you are in the public space?
And it's just like in your face.
So how do you flee when it is in your space? How do you flee when your job demands that you interact with people? How do you flee when I can't have a private page as an entertainer now? And you will have planners that will reach out to you.
How do you flee when you finish emceeing an event, you are lodging at the hotel, you have to flee? After party.
You have to after party. There's an usher there that already collected your number. MC, I love you. And being funny comes with, is like 50% of your problem is solved.
One show in a hotel, I can't remember the name of the show. I was there with Slasher. We finished. I don't know as I get or find my room. I don't even marry you.
You see?
Just knock door.
No time.
What was the one useless excuse? You know that, first of all, obviously, because maybe she expected to see only me in the room, then she saw somebody with me, so she first know that this mission don't have, but you see the appearance. So when she talk, no me say, I just wanted to ask for why na here you call.
How did you even know here? And which brings me to my next point. Thank God you said something now unconsciously, because I tell guys, this is us being real. Let me tell you the truth. There's a point you get to. Fleeing will not be your strategy again. Tell me the truth. You now upgrade to system. System in the sense that there was a time, anytime we go to shows abroad, even before I got married, it's a rule. I don't lodge alone.
Yeah.
Because there's a point where you now have to start creating systems that make it impossible for you. Even if you betray yourself, the system will not betray you. So I'm in the room sleeping with like 4 other friends of mine.
That
I trust.
They no go be catalyst.
No be boys where go they come out when girl come. Boys why I know say if I wink at you like this, we'll just start like bala bala baba rakakakaka. So do you know that there are some tongues. Some tongues are subtle now. When you're saying lebra shagada labra is umba to le ki kukuta la balakato gayela dide. You don't know. Weapons of our warfare no carnal.
True, bro. True.
So fleeing was no longer a strategy. I was out there already. Girls are coming towards me. I can't deny. I'm seeing them in my DM, and then by this time, I didn't even have a relationship yet. I'm still single, and it's becoming harder because people know that this guy is single, doing things. Then wrote my first book. It got reviews. Then what's supposed to be happened. We became popular.
Yeah.
I remember we went for one show in Owo. That would be the first time in my life. So as we finished the show, thank God, it's just a rule between Arole and I. Then when they still call us for shows together, I can't be in room 8. If they used to book 2 rooms for us, but that second room we waste. We'll always be together. So 2 of us were in the room. Then I just had a light knock on the door. That guy said it in Ondo language. Me, I don't know the language very well.
Are you serious?
He just, and I opened the door wide. I just saw 5 guys. Are you serious? Pick your choice. Whoa. Meaning pick your choice. Whoa. Is part of benefit of coming to our show. God bless you. Odabo. And I close the door. I'll let you. He just started laughing. And you know, thank God, you are in the industry too. And this is the list. This is the list of the things we face. So now, to the peculiarity of our job, you need more than someone just telling you that flee, control yourself. No, there will be a time you can't forget. Controlling will not be a strategy again. What will you control? What you are saying?
And this thing is, is in alignment to what somebody had said here to Pastor Shola. Yeah. When he came, he said he lives his life like he's about to fall in the next step. So he puts mechanisms in place. You understand? He puts it, just like you say, he puts a system in place. Multiple layers, you know, so, like just like you said, first of all, he lives with 3 guys that he trusts, and there will be no time. First of all, and you can even count the number of girls that have come ever in life. But whenever anyone has to come,
7-factor authentication with OTP,
people go there around, you know. So it's not even so. And he said you even do it you don't wait till the moment where you are most vulnerable. You do it when you think you are strongest.
Yes, sir.
Do you understand? So that you don't ever get to that vulnerable moment, you know. And it's also it's just the next level. Is a way of fleeing too. Yeah. But it's the graduated form of fleeing. Yeah, fleeing we go university.
That fleeing start from 100 level to 100 level. So if you want to use 100 level fleeing for 300 level temptation.
So how did you now get to, because first of all, just like you said about the next person I'm about to bring, me too, I didn't know on time. I don't think I got the news. I didn't know on time that you were married. Do you understand? I just saw, and so first of all, when did you know? Did you get to a point where you realized that, I need to get married? Because for instance, for me now, at that time, what brought me to the point of marriage was when I just saw my wife. I knew, because I got married in 2016, but then I was like maybe 2022, 2023 initially. But when I saw her and she was like, my next person where she go deal with tonight, she go marry you, and she knows she wants to get married this next year. I followed it because do you understand? But how was it for you? Was it a self-realization? Then how did you get to choose your wife? How did you get to meet her? How did you know she's the one? How did who toasted who? All those talks.
For me, at a point I was not even searching. But I was consuming knowledge. One of the things I do most is, my life is pretty much a little boring. If you go to I read and I think. The kind of films I watch, it will bore you. It's either documentary or a thing. So my wife will say, Emma, so then I had, consume a lot of materials on marriages and co, but I was not looking for anybody. I had a lot of people coming. I even had advances from girls, but it wasn't my thing. So I went for. I did a retreat that time. So at the end of that retreat, I just found myself. I picked up my phone. Up till now is something I don't do. I don't check my Facebook DMs. I believe that anybody that is sending me message on Facebook it will be one old connection you get.
I'm sorry, but same here.
Yes.
And you can't, because you see a lot of messages you're like,
yes, now, okay, and I don't want Ebola to be buried. A lot of things have happened in my life. You get. So I picked up my phone that day and I on Facebook and I saw a message. We want you to come and host our event. So in Gowon Estate, Ipaja. As I just saw Ipaja, me. Even Ikorodu. Once Timba my 12, I used to turn back. My 12 is my limit. I'll go and turn under that bridge. Me Olomo. Me Ipaja. I'm not going, Joe. Then somehow I went back to that message again. Then I found myself, I replied. Then she called. Then she told me the venue of the. So I went for the program. It was a dinner, a singles dinner. I went to host the dinner and then I got there and I saw this girl. She was running after. She's like, she was in the committee. And she was going out. My eyes was following her all around. This guy is in charge, and he. So we left. Then before I got home, she, being a courteous girl, she just sent a message. Hope you guys arrived home safely. And I said, thank you. I now saved that number after that. So now,
before we proceed with that picture, had you seen some people before then that got your attraction and so what now made this one different?
Yes, I've seen a lot of there are a lot of girls I've seen that be like, oh, this person, at least physically, this one has passed, this one, but there's not just there's that knowing is not there. You know, for me, how it happened for me, there's a knowing you can't explain to another person. There's a kind of knowing that when that person asks you that, how did you know?
You just knew.
You just say, I just know. If you can explain it, it's deeper. That's if the meaning of know in Greek is ginosko. So sorry. It's that kind of knowing. And by the way, that's how my stage name came to being. Most people don't know. Mark 4:11. It is given unto men to know, to ginosko, the secret of the kingdom of God, to know. So that was why I picked it. Mark 4:11, Ashiri. Because there are only two categories of people in the world. It's not boy and girl, man or woman. It's people that know and people that don't know. So sing on me. So it's either you know or you don't know.
Hi.
If you don't know, you are the mess of people that know. That's all. So the difference between people that are here and people that are here is knowledge. So there was that knowing. I just knew that all these girls, they are not the one. So when I now saw her, I now saw that we had mutual friends of over 400 and something. Yeah? So this girl went to AU. I saw that she went to AU. She did economics. She attended the fellowship Alsevo AU and not for once. And I was popular in Alsevo because I was in drama. And not for once. I did not know her. I did not see her.
Wow.
So I saw one of our mutual friends, Salami Aziz, AZ. I just call AZ. AZ. Bamikwe Maggie. Maggie is Salami's wife, AZ's wife. That Bamikwe Maggie. Oh no, Bam the phone for Maggie. That means give the phone to your wife. Hello, Margaret. Who is Abiodun that you people serve together in CGC? He said, very good guy. AZ was like, killing some. Really? People let it pade. Emma worry. And I told AZ, I'm not like come here. AZ was now the Rushida.
Wow.
Because I have the tendency to go code on things. AZ will message me. Then we started talking. Then I realized that, I think she's the one. We started. So the first day we met, our first date, any problem. Our first day, I still have the picture on my phone. She came with Jota. It was at the Kaja Sisimo. She came with Jota. Like we signed the agreement. So we had checklist. We had a checklist. And we ticked all those checklists before we got married. We dated for like 5 years now.
What was on this checklist?
Then I know she's a virgin, so there will be no sexual.
So this was a collision of two virgins.
Yes, so
I
would have talked more about that one, but I explored it in my special, so I don't want to reveal things there about my special. I thought about our virgin night. I was explicit. I told them everything, so it's there. So we're not going to touch ourselves. We must have our masters. So MBA by force. MBA. I've noticed that she's someone that likes to work. So I won't touch her work in the name of I have money. So she still wants, okay. So
on the first date,
she came with Jota. I'm telling you, that intentionality baffled me. That what kind of girl does this? We were so engrossed in that we almost missed the movie we came to watch. We're not chicken. Okay, so we'll do
date.
But most of our only we did so we had that agreement. So we started working towards it. But it was hard because as we grew closer, the chemistry was there. So now we know we are getting married. I'm falling in love. She's falling in love with me. There's a tendency that our guards will now be dropping.
So how did you deal with that?
That's like from I know we met in 2016. Yes, May 29, 2016, 2017, 18, 19, 20, 21. We got married October 20. So it took us 5 years.
Wow.
So one of the things that helped us was she was very busy as a financial executive. I was very busy. So we see once in a while. So when we see, we try to curate our scene. But at some point, I won't tell you, by year 3, year 4, we had gotten used to ourselves. So there's nothing wrong in she coming to my house. There's nothing wrong in she entering my room. She now told me one day, he said, we're at the edge. No, we are playing with fire.
Wow.
Okay, so I said, okay. So if this is happening, the only good thing is we should, why are we delaying getting married? Like, okay, so then what happened? Okay, so then we decided that, okay, then the MBA the master's was,
the remaining thing.
It was blinking. That's how we went to enroll for master's for Ajayi Crowther. My wife, that girl.
So she even pushed you to even achieve
in the exam, you know me, see, I'm good with numbers, but not calculation, but I'm good with numbers. If I see your number plate once, I will remember again. I'm good with cramming. I can cram. So all those cramming work, so I didn't know that there's one course we would do MBA, something. It's calculation. When we entered the exam, my wife sat beside me. Before you know, I saw her. She brought her ruler. But they calculate it. And I said, babe, number 1. Do you know what this girl did for me?
What is she doing?
She now brought out a question paper. She now wrote it. If you can cheat on me in the exam, if you can cheat in the exam, you can cheat on me in real life. Maya failing you. I was like, how did you relate? Cheat on who? Cheat in the exam? If I fail, I fail. Relationship or do marry atabo. Exam lo ma ti daru.
No, and it's even interesting that so you guys had the MBA together.
Yes, now we are
two classes together.
Yes, wow. We graduated same day.
Wow.
We graduated same day.
Wow.
And that was how. And getting married to her is another thing. It made me realize that you see this thing we call marriage. My marriage will be 2 years in 2. Some things I've realized about marriage is, number 1, if you want to enter marriage with hot takes, there's no hot takes in marriage. Some people go to marriage with hot takes.
What do you mean by hot takes?
Hot takes is those tidbits that they've told you on social media. Don't do this, you don't do that. It's a lie. Marriage is not a platform where you go with hot takes. It's a platform where you both enter, you come together because of the love you have for yourself. You now create your own rules with the understanding of individual parties, because the functioning model in your house might cause problem in my own house. So because I've seen a lot of things, it's good. Thank God to the great marriage counselors we have out there. But there's still a limit to counsel. Those counsel will still come down to the specificity and peculiarity of who you marry. Okay, me now, when I wake up in the morning, I don't like talking to people. àwọn àjẹnú mi máa ń bá mi sọ̀rọ̀ between 6 and 7.
Me, when I come back from shows, I don't like talking. So ask my wife. How is the show? Thank God.
Thank God.
OTE.
Right now because you were talking outside. You want me to come and talk inside again?
Oh Lord.
So between 6 and 7, more. Ojú mi á lè níbí. And that's when I send all those broadcasts. Àwọn àjẹnú mi máa ṣiṣẹ́ time yẹn. Má disturb wọn. And
it took a while to understand this.
And me, I will sleep around 4. She will wake around 4. So time take me fẹ́ lọ sùn yẹn. By ló máa wá turn on yàrá. Me, I hate light. And she want to prepare for work.
And you have to be in the same room.
So there was a time I was going to sleep in the office. My son lost office, and so you started sleeping. So I came back to the room. By force, I now know how to sleep inside light. Tó bá ti tọ́nà yẹn, màá kàn yí padà ní èmi kọ́ ló ń bá sọ. Màá da duvet yẹn borí, màá increase thickness ẹ̀. Because I just discovered that there are so many things a man will say láyé mi lè gbà. Marriage is the place where wàá máa gbà back to back.
You are taking that out of my mouth. It's exactly what I was going to say. Because, and one of the things that would just help, because these things you mentioned are things that brings end. Because you are like, I don't want this, I don't want that. Yes, but if one of the things that will sustain a marriage, is once both of you, first of all, you have that unified focus. Okay, we are here. We are in this, so whatever takes this to work. Yes. Do you understand? And that would influence the fact that that you just have to adjust.
Yes, sir.
You would have to. There is never and my wife always tells me that thing, that because I always said it a lot, that this is the way I am. He said my husband, we are here together, and there's nothing like this the way I am.
Yes, sir.
This is the way we need to be for both of us to align.
Yes.
And this thing you just dropped is because you when they sleep in darkness, now you've mastered that shows that it's not an impossibility for you to sleep in light, but you've just been used to that. And now because I have to, now my wife now, where will she go? So I have to adjust.
Because now I realize that it will cause a drift, because I wanted to adjust without causing her issue. And because I wanted to adjust, I started sleeping in my office. My office is still in the house, but now it will cause
separation.
So I was not like, no.
You'll now be used to sleeping by yourself.
I will not be used to sleeping by myself. So I came back. So and because it's love is a cycle of sacrifice. And that sacrifice will never end. There are days when you are not yourself, but you have to be someone else to keep your home functioning. There are days when you are not in the mood, but you have to be in the mood. Not to not talk of the kind of pressure we have as young men. See, I used to pity us. You have to be a father, then you have to be a father-in-law. You have to be an artist for your fans. You have to be a priest for your house. Then you have to be a husband. You have to be romantic in the midst of your serious endeavor. Then you have to be a father for your child. Then you have to be a son to your father. Then when you go out, you might have to be. So the things you have to be, and almost all these things will be requiring your attention at the same time. So how do you cope? So now you now want to add having a wife that does not understand to it. Sorry, Moshekwe.
True.
You can't. Those are one of the things you can't outgrow. I told my wife when we're sitting dating, I said, babe, this is me. This is you. We need to get to a point where I don't ever want you to endure. If it is not working, let me know. Let's address it. I had a friend that their mom just called the children 32 years after. And she said she wants a divorce with her.
32 years.
And I asked her why. She said the mom said she's not feeling it, that she's not happy. Mom, it took you more than 3 decades to realize that you are not happy. And they dissolved.
Wow.
So 32 years after you realize. But in cases like that, because when I was thinking about it, was not like that woman didn't realize she's not happy now. But she got to a point that she was holding it. She now saw that my children are independent. I have another source of happiness. Guy.
That's why it's always important to address all issues, from the onset. You guys come again. You guys come again. But let's end on this note. Based on your experience and what would you say men should look out for when they are trying to maybe choose a wife?
You should look out for a woman that is teachable. And you yourself, you should not be an instructor. Number one, look out for a woman that is teachable. But when you marry her, don't marry her with the sense that you want to teach her. Everything you want her to know, model it. You want her to learn patience, model it. You want her to learn giving. You can't teach her. Model it. You can't coerce her to be submissive. That's where people get problems. They'll say, yeah, Bible says you should submit. But that submission is a function of something. A woman submits naturally to something they respect. So if you are having submission issue, something is affecting your priesthood. I read a lot of things online. They say the wife should be submissive, the husband. Yes, but that submission is a function of something.
And it's interesting that you even took it that route, because I was going to take it that route when you were saying whatever you want her to learn, you need to model it. I was going to say that is the exact meaning of love your wife, because and I was now going to link it to submission. Because a lot of men always ask for submission, submit, and if you have to follow what that Bible verse says, then you should not even be asking for it, because it says husband love your wife, wife submit to your husband. Husband love your wife as Christ loved the church. That despite we offend them, he still love us. So that means say, if now Christ be the husband, we supposed to submit to. Despite this fact, say we no submit to him. Kowa challenge you are not submitting. He kept showing us the love, and there's no way you love someone genuinely and they will keep seeing love. They will want to choose violence.
It's not possible.
So if you are getting a result, is because of what you are imputing, like chemistry. Equation. It has to always be balanced. So continue.
So because if you have to ask, if you need to ask if you need to ask her to be submissive, it's already too late. Because if you have to ask for it, because just like what you said, you've summarized it all. Because everything you have to model it. That's why a man has to get himself together. Marriage is not what you rush into. A man has to get himself together before he decides that he wants to get married, because everything lies on you. Because how did the Bible put it now? Bible said Christ is the head of the church. He now said the husband is the head of the woman. So meaning that God will never bypass the man. So far you people are married to bless the woman. Something happened to me. Let me use a practical example. I was going after one thing and I was struggling. But I had a release in my spirit that this thing had happened, but I didn't see manifestation. So I was praying. God now told me that something happened in your life, October 23rd, 2021. And I said I got married, so you became one. When you presented this case before me, I didn't see your second signatory.
Jesus.
No, we can't process this request. I was shocked.
Wow.
So even if the fact that you are married, you don't know that it's a contract before God.
Wow.
You are on a very, very dangerous mission. So the fact that you are fighting your wife, you are endangering your life. And now to call her, babe, we need to agree on this thing. Can two work together? This is what I'm praying to God for. And we prayed like maybe a week or 2 weeks after, that thing clicked.
True life story.
I'm not framing this thing up. So God was not telling me, I did not force you. It was you that came to me that this person and this person, we are now one. Every time I hear your voice alone, and there's no a voice of agreement of the second person, is an incomplete request. Yes, there are areas where you have to be the priest of your house. There are areas where you have to be, but there are some requests that it is only power of agreement that brings it. So it's better if you know you can't get to that level. It's okay, don't get married. Because many people, let me just add this one, and I won't expand it again. You can't be woke and have a good marriage. I'm telling you the truth. You can't carry wokeness into a marriage. It will not work. There's nothing gensified or funkified. Let's tell ourselves the truth. about marriage. You've been married since you've been married like 4 or 5 years before I even got married.
Ancient principles are just still holding.
It's still, you can't, there's nothing woke, there's no wokeness in marriage. I change diaper. Motuni style, there's a way I can do it to my form cone. Emma, why so comfortable? Tell Emma free. I change diaper, I will use wipes, use everything. I cook. So now say, are you actually? My wife, sometimes she forget that she's a financial executive that have people reporting to her. She enters the kitchen out so scarf where she cooks. She will carry that orogun something. Forget all those few times that you will see our picture on IG. You see us in restaurants. Like, what sustains a marriage is more than wokeness, and that is what this generation are not. This is what they are fighting. It's good to be woke, but the functionality of marriage is not predicated on wokeness.
And if I would buttress what you are saying, because I fully agree, is people forget we don't look at what we need to look at. What we usually need to look at is the whole essence of marriage, which is supposed to be the end result, and whatever will get us to that end result,
yes,
what we should drive towards. Like what you said now, I do not like to watch plays. I do not, because you know why I don't like all those things, because mo fair for shock panic
is what you wanted to escape from.
So in Nigeria, when we have the means, I got people that do these things for us, do the chef and everything. But when I go to London, we don't. So it's both of us that are left to do it, and I cannot just open my eyes and say, okay, now you go to do everything. So I still have to do it.
Yes.
And these are things that would, because a lot of people will concentrate on I will concentrate still on the fact that I did not like doing this thing growing up, so please, I don't want to do this, and it will now be affecting the end result of that marriage, which is supposed to be the unity. Do you understand what? So that's why I really, really agree, and I just wanted to explain from my dimension, because we need to, per time, look at Igbo land law. How do we need to get to where we are going? You get, we are together working to this marriage. Is not about one person. It's not about titles. For instance, the way this thing that you said about washing dishes, a lot of people will be like, you are not a man. It's not a manly thing to do. When your wife, and that's why I would not understand. Your wife just give birth. She's supposed to be resting. And either get people that will do these things, but if there are no people, do them.
My own was worse. When my wife gave birth, a week after my wife gave birth, my father-in-law died. And we're not in the country. And you know what it means? See, we're enjoying communal lifestyle as Nigerians now. Before you give birth, there's one sister that is coming to do Omugo. We were together in the Airbnb.
Only you, baby, and your wife. Only
3 of us. And as you carry this one, I will carry.
So that's another level to it. When you have the delicate tiny baby, you guys have to figure it out.
I told her, I said this 3 months, because from pregnancy to delivery, this is the proof I know that we are meant to be together, because they were polarizing moments for me. I was rejecting jobs in Nigeria, and we are spending dollars daily. So I was angry. I was rejecting jobs. We are stuck together in a room. So our true color started showing. We had argument towards that time. Something flimsy just caused argument. I just called my wife. I said, babe, I'm sorry that I let out on you like that. I'm not processing my thoughts well. Let me go downstairs. I took a walk. And we now gave birth, adjusting to the pressure of the newborn, waking up every 2 hours. That thing alone is annoying for me. Showman time, why will you be waking up every 2 hours in the middle of the night? And then they just hit us with the news that my father-in-law had died. No
hope of anybody coming over to help. No.
So someone that my wife was still telling me that she can't wait for grandpa to see. So now I have to tell her that our father had died, and So at that moment, I just realized that this thing they call being a man, being a husband, it is happening to me. I have a baby to protect. Now I have a wife to comfort. And I have myself to
be strong.
and I have a finances that is doing like this because I've not been working for 3 months.
And this also buttresses what you now said about there is no hot spot. There is no
wokeness.
And that thing that there is no all those notes that you take before you get married. You need to.
God bless you.
Because at this point now, what would have prepared you for this point you found yourself?
So I will hear some guys they will tell me, no, open keep me so buy sorobe. Show more temperament to mani to ba lóyún. To say no, in my house ọkùnrin ló man ọkùnrin òkín wàá fọ abọ́sà.
What happened? Battery. Maybe we just even round up. Maybe as
even if you have cook, there will be a time your cook will not come. Shoto. Or does this thing happen to you? Okay, let me tell you something happened. Something happened 2 days ago. My wife, as she started cooking, mo ti rí tó ti ń gbé àwọn clean jáde in the freezer. I was like, I don't feel like eating frozen thing that day. Me, there's sorrow. Are we still rolling?
Yeah.
Okay, because I didn't feel like that, like something we're talking about. That there are some things it's not in marriage that you say you are not prepared for it, and you need to understand. Okay, two days ago, even if you have cook or you have, to the glory of God, at least I could afford to pay domestic. But even if you have domestic, there is still the place of what is coming from your wife to you. Like 2 days ago now, let me give you this practical example, and we'll round off. My wife got back from work. I knew she was tired. So I already saw her. She opened the freezer. She was bringing out pepper. But that particular day, being the way I grew up in Ibadan. My mom, whenever she's coming back from work, she will branch the market. I am actually used to eating fresh food. If I want to eat ewedu, mama tofunra wani. I'm not actually used to all those ewedu touchy freeze. But when I got married, because of our schedule, Momanje is not. But this particular 3 days ago, I was having this taste that I want to eat
something fresh.
So I didn't talk. As I saw her bringing out those things, and I went downstairs and I trekked. And I went to buy pepper myself. And I got back. I said, you went to buy pepper? I told her, don't let us use this.
Wisdom.
Before you know, Mutin blend them for me. So I didn't tell her that.
From the onset that I don't want to eat.
So imagine someone that had been working and I said, today I want to eat. No, I fulfilled my part of the day. I went to get the pepper. I was already blending it. I blended it. We were in the kitchen together. I feel like in the fresh one, Loni. And she was like, she got the gist. And we did it together. And we ate. So, but now if I want to be woke, I will sit down and I will say, babe, I think we are eating too much frozen things in this house. Today I want to eat. I've bruised her ego. I've reduced her to a common woman, a woman that was working since so. I did not know that I want to eat fresh pepper. And
you showed ingratitude already, because even that action of her even trying to cook after she came, you know. So I think this our talk today is inconclusive.
Yes.
So right now we'll just be like as men, you know, we're talking about what to look for in women, but overall I think we should just say it this way, that first of all, you need to just know what you need to get into marriage, and you need wisdom.
Yes.
You need wisdom, you know, and most of this wisdom, like there are things that you will need to do on the spot. So the best place you can get it from is the Bible says, if a man lacks wisdom, let him ask God, you know. And I need to know Lord and wisdom. They know it all.
Yes,
you know, you said you are going to be 2 years and everything, and I've gotten even a lot from you. I'm going to be 7 years. You know, and that is it. You are never a master of these things.
Continuous.
You know, but overall, marriage is working, and it will keep working forever.
Yes,
and we are ambassadors.
Yes, sir.
Of working marriages.
Yes,
bro. God bless you. Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
You go still come.
Yes, sir. Thanks for having me. You are an inspiration. I must tell you this, and your methods. I love your methods.
Wow.
And I love you so much, sincerely.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me. If you call me back 7 times,
thank you so much. Yes. Thank you for the honor. God bless you.
Amen.
God bless you. May God imbue you. See you guys next time. Oyibo husband material here, imbue.
Bishop, no man, no, we wear that.